Hey there, it's Chris here with a special exploration of Garrett County. I found this old postcard. I blew it up some, it's bigger than postcard size. But the caption says, Stem Rock, Snaggy Mountain near Oakland, Maryland. And we've got a group of very well-dressed people from, looks just from the printing of the postcard and what they're wearing from the early 1900s, I'd bet, on top of this very interesting, cool looking rock, stem rock. And I'm here at the rock maze, point number 16 off of my adventure map. I thought that might be a likely candidate. I've never really been looking for this type of rock when I've been at the rock maze, so I'm going to check that out first. This whole area kind of between my two fingers is all generally Snaggy Mountain. There's not really a set peak of Snaggy Mountain, but we're going to kind of check out this area and see if we can find stem rock. Okay, we are coming up on the rock maze, and there were a couple reasons I want to check this out first as a candidate for this stem rock. First is it's close to a road, and it's very likely that the roads in the early 1900s were generally the same place as they are now. So it seemed that people, well dressed as they were, would not have necessarily been hiking a lot. And these type of rocks may have been something they could have gotten to fairly close to the road. So we're going to keep an eye out for a similar rock to stem rock. But you see there's a lot of these just big monolithic rocks kind of laying around in here. I'm kind of at the perimeter of the rock maze right now. Back there is kind of one of the entrances, so to speak, to go into the middle. I'm going to kind of stick around the outside here and see if I can match up any of these bigger rocks that are around the outside. I mean, obviously, it's not going to be something that's in the middle there. And even in 100 years, these rocks have not moved that much. But it's important to know that, or think about, that very likely the clear, lack of trees in the old picture could have very well been clear cut at that time, and things may have grown up since then. So all of these trees that are in here may kind of shield the view of what this rock is looking like today. This looks promising. Let's investigate this a little bit. I'm going to click off the video and get around for a better look. Well, coming from the back, this particular rock looked like it had a good chance, but it's a little tough to see through the laurel there. But there's another big rock right behind it that I think would have shown up in this picture. I mean, it really looks like this is kind of alone by itself on the top of a crest, and this rock has a lot of the same feature, kind of that real weathered look, but I just don't think it's it. But that's kind of a cool feature there. A lot of wind erosion, big rock that just never got eroded away there. But I'm going to keep walking around and see if I find anything. Okay, we are back to kind of that main entrance area here, and amazing rock formations, but nothing that really seemed like a that stem rock of it just sticking out on its own. Might go get a little more perspective down the hill a bit and see if there's something that just seems to be really poking out. But I don't know if this is the spot. I don't know if this is going to get a good capture of the kind of perspective of this, but it is a very cool view here of the rock maze. It just kind of turns into this fortress of rhododendron and laurel up there. And really, once you get in there, yeah, it's a very kind of thick, like fantasy world hideout up there. But I'm going to kind of keep doing the perimeter here and see if any other rocks seem to pop out. That might be it. If you're a regular viewer of my videos, you may have heard this story once or twice, but a favorite feature on an old, I think, late 1700s map of this area is, you know, really starts becoming way less defined right around in this area, right around Garrett County and the west of that. And on the map, somewhere around like Tucker County, the cartographer just wrote laurel thickets with the message that, you know, they just didn't make it any further and got stuck in there. And you can see the reason why. It is very tough to bushwhack through laurel thickets. Once you get in there, you really lose your direction, and it's just a real pain in the butt to push your way through. We're back on the kind of the backside here, and yeah, I'm going to do another lap, but I think this is not the spot for stem rock. Okay, we are back at the parking lot for the rock maze, and did not find anything that looked like it. Just did not feel like that was going to be there. We are right here at the special point 16, and like I said, this whole stretch right here is Snaggy Mountain, and you know, there's not really a specific peak, but you can kind of see on the topo map we've got, you know, some of these little points. You know, try and stay on state land as much as possible, but this is an intriguing spot. This goes over here, and then right across the West Virginia border there is or was a fire tower. You know, so that's the kind of point where you would build a fire tower as kind of a bare crest of a hill, and maybe that is where the rock is. So we're going to go over here and go onto this road. Sometimes that is blocked off, but we'll see. Like I said, I made a note on this. This is the very first revision of the map. I learned a couple things. That road does keep going along there, and we'll see if we can check that out and see if there's anything that looks like stem rock out there. Okay, we are at the Wilderness Ranch Trail Access Point. This is Snaggy Mountain Fire Tower Road, and it goes over into private property there. We are generally right about here, and you can see that the road, quote unquote, continues up there and eventually goes over to West Virginia. And in my mind, a topo, you know, there is a fire tower right across the border on top of Snaggy Mountain. That would be a logical place to put a fire tower if there was a clearing where there's some rocks sticking out. So we're going to follow this and see if anything interesting is out that way. You know, a pretty good climb here, and over on the right is state property, and the left of this road is private property. So I'm hoping if I do see the rock, it's not to the left. But there have been some promising looking ones over here on the right, but as you get closer, they just don't seem to be stemmy enough. But keep an eye out. Okay, interesting little border here. We've got, I'm imagining this is a rock marking the West Virginia border. Like I said, over on the left of this road is private property, and it's tough to see through all the trees, but there's a really interesting kind of rock formation, like a cliff almost, real grown in by rhododendrons. But it still doesn't seem like that's the thumb we're looking for here. And then going back down the hill, and then over there is a road going to Alpine Lake. So we're going to just keep going a little bit further up up the rest of Fire Tower Road and see if there's anything kind of right at the top here. Well, we made it as far as we're going to go along Fire Tower Road here. It's tough to see through the trees, but there's a big water tank for the Alpine Lake development. And yeah, there's just not really any sign of where that rock would be here. I just don't think this is it. And we didn't even get a fire tower either. That was kind of a bummer. Thought we'd at least get to catch a view while we were up here. But we're going to turn back, maybe try and catch a side trail that looked interesting, but yeah, I don't know if it's on this particular ridge either. Well, we are back to the parking area for the fire trail, and no real sign of stem rock up there. And it just seems like it might be somewhere along the south. You know, this whole ridge going south to, I guess, about Krellin is Snaggy Mountain. So it could be kind of along here. Unfortunately, a lot of this, if not all of it, is private property. And it may be that if it's down there, it may never be publicly discovered again. But I'll keep looking, see if I can find anything else that has any possibility of finding it. And yeah, until then, hope to see you out and about, adventuring out in the wilderness.